Bonjour, mon nom est Serge Larochelle du 399 chemin Knowlton, l'ancienne résidence Knowlton. Après plusieurs tentatives que je fais avec la ville et les inspecteurs de venir voir l'immeuble, j'ai pas trop de réponses. Le service d'incendie était supposé venir inspecter parce que ça passe pas l'inspection. Et il y a plusieurs choses qui passent pas. Il y a de la moisissure dans l'immeuble et les inspecteurs ne font rien. J'ai parlé à l'inspecteur Jean-Yves Charbonneau. Il m'a dit au téléphone, ils n'ont pas le droit de faire des rénovations dans l'immeuble. Et ils en font pareil. Il est venu poser interdiction de faire des travaux. Ce qui se fait encore, sans autorisation. Il m'a dit, avise-moi, mec, tes voix faire des travaux. J'ai appelé M. Charbonneau. Et M. Charbonneau me dit, c'est quoi tu veux que je fasse? Ah, c'est toi qui m'as dit de t'appeler, puis tu fais rien. Fait qu'il ne s'est même pas déplacé pendant qu'il était là, présentement, quand c'est arrivé. Alors, je me demande pourquoi que la ville ne fait rien avec cet immeuble-là, il n'y a rien qui passe là-dedans, puis la ville ne fait rien. Et de plus, j'ai un autre problème. Sur mon pied, j'ai pogné des bactéries. Ça, c'est l'eau qu'on a là-bas. L'eau est jaune tous les jours. Il y avait même un coup, il y avait des morceaux de métal dedans. La ville a dit que ce n'est pas eux autres qui étaient responsables de l'eau. Mais j'ai été allé sur le site pour avoir de l'eau. Parce qu'ils demandaient si on voulait avoir de l'eau. On est une trentaine de personnes dans l'immeuble. Puis, j'ai pas eu de réponse. J'ai jamais de réponse des inspecteurs. J'ai jamais vu venir, que ce soit l'Acaduc, que ce soit l'inspecteur qui était supposé venir quand c'est le temps, pour quand ils font des travaux. Là, ça fait 2 semaines qu'ils font plus de travaux, parce qu'ils savent que j'arrête pas d'appeler à la ville. Mais il n'y a pas d'inspecteur qui se déplace plus. Il y a eu une alarme quand on a manqué d'électricité aussi pour le service d'incendie. Les lumières dedans, c'est supposé durer 6 heures. Ça durera 1h30 en plein milieu de la nuit.
So, votre question, c'est qu'est-ce que la ville fait dans
Oui,
ce dossier?
qu'est-ce qu'elle devrait faire dans ce dossier-là, parce que là, ça n'a pas de sens.
Moi, personnellement, je ne connais pas le dossier. Je connais un peu avec le contenu, mais pareil, c'est que apparemment, il va faire des rénovations dans les 2 bâtisses. Puis on suit, apparemment, quand je parle, il va suivre le dossier très proche. Puis on va laisser M. Harel d'ajouter.
Monsieur Larochelle, c'est pas la première fois que vous venez ici.
Ça va faire 2e fois.
Effectivement. Alors, les inspecteurs, premièrement, les pompiers sont allés, tous passent les tests. Non, mais c'est vrai que vous voyez, mais ça passe.
À Montréal, il serait fermé, barricadé.
Vous avez une différence avec le propriétaire, organisez-vous avec lui, parce que nous, la ville, on n'a rien à voir là-dedans. Hein? C'est un dossier, je pense, litigieux entre vous et le propriétaire. J'ai moi-même rencontré le propriétaire qui gère la maison de chambre où ce que vous habitez. Et il travaille en collaboration avec la ville pour améliorer tout ce qui se passe là. Et la RBQ est allée sur place, ils ont noté rien. Donc, l'eau, premièrement, la ville elle est très bonne, elle est testée constamment. Hein, à tous les jours, elle est testée.
Okay, ben ça,
l'ensemble des citoyens.
Si vous en voulez, là, ça, c'est de l'eau le matin.
Il n'y a pas de problème. Et il n'y a pas d'autres personnes de l'immeuble qui se font de l'eau. Donc, tout ce que je peux vous dire, c'est que on a des bonnes discussions.
Tu veux-tu voir une pétition de 20 noms signés que j'ai envoyée au propriétaire? Je l'ai avec moi.
Amenez-la la pétition, M. Larochelle.
Oui, 20 locataires. Oui, je vais vous l'envoyer par email. Mais...
Parfait. Alors, on a une belle collaboration de la part des propriétaires.
OK. Savez-vous qu'il a mis ses 2 immeubles à vendre? Ils veulent les vendre à monsieur de lui en être pas, monsieur La Liberté, parce que monsieur ne veut plus faire de travaux.
Je peux vous dire que c'est totalement faux ce que vous dites.
Ah oui?
Yes.
Mais je peux vous gager un petit super restaurant que c'est vrai.
Il y a d'autres personnes qui avaient en derrière vous. Vous avez d'entendre les 2 questions.
OK. Bien, c'est ça. La deuxième question, c'est pourquoi ils ont interdit et le propriétaire il est venu l'arracher. J'ai appelé l'inspecteur. L'inspecteur lui a dit c'est pas grave. Alors, ça, c'est un document qui va aller dans les journaux. On verra si c'est pas grave, parce que là, ça s'en va dans les journalistes, comme votre histoire de neige ici à Dalton. Merci.
Bonsoir, Chantal Brodard, chemin de Pinot. Monsieur le maire, concernant, pour revenir au niveau des locations à court terme, Vous nous avez indiqué, Maître Falquero, qu'il y avait des fautifs. Vous ne nous avez pas dit quelles étaient les mesures ou les actions qui ont été entreprises par la Ville envers les fautifs.
Mais je donne transfert de parole à Mme Falquero encore, Mme Falquero.
Merci.
Lui qui connaît les détails.
Alors, il y avait 3 cas où il y avait des plaintes pour location à court terme dans des immeubles où il n'y avait pas de permis du gouvernement. Dans les 3 cas, nous avons avisé les personnes qui n'avaient pas le droit de location à court terme. Nous avons expliqué encore une fois les règlements de la Ville, les règlements de Québec, nécessité d'avoir un permis de CTQ et tout ça. Et dans les 3 cas, à ma connaissance, les locations à court terme ont arrêté.
Malheureusement, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour arrêter ces fautifs?
Mais je dirais qu'il faut aviser la Ville parce que moi, j'ai pas reçu une plainte depuis fort longtemps, je dirais des mois. Alors, s'il y a des plaintes que vous connaissez ou d'autres mondes connaissent, fais-moi en parle et on va essayer de régler le problème.
Tout simplement. Vous deviez aussi faire une liste des personnes qui faisaient de la location à court terme sur le site Internet de la Ville. Il va y avoir un onglet. Est-ce qu'il y a des travaux au niveau du web qui ont été faits à cet effet?
Mais il y a 2 choses. Un, on refait complètement le site web actuellement. C'est un peu en lien avec ça. Aussi, comme vous savez peut-être, un citoyen accusé bon d'entamer une recours en justice contre la Ville, contre notre règlement de permis 5994. Cette requête de nullité va passer en cours dans les prochaines semaines. Alors, nous attendons le sort de ce recours-là pour voir si c'est vrai que notre règlement doit être unifié ou non, et on va s'ajuster en conséquence.
Merci.
Hello, Kevin Rumsby speaking from West-Brome. I'm here today for the first time ever. I bought a house in West-Brome 4 years ago, and since COVID took over, having a lot of trouble with the garbage pickup, the compost, etc. And I called the town, and you guys tell me to leave my bin out beside the road. I leave it out for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Then I call you, Mr. Mayor. Well, you called me the other night at 6 o'clock.
You left the message, that's correct.
Yeah, and I don't know. I pay taxes, and I didn't appreciate the way you talked to me the other night on the phone and hung up. You told me and my girlfriend to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me that your bin wasn't picked up also.
Mm-hmm.
So is that acceptable? What are you going to do about it?
Well, we've already made the measures. We've contacted Ricova. Ricova has hired another driver. The 2 trucks were on the road today. So they have 2 trucks all the time, but when there is one that quits in the middle of the run, which was in West-Brome, and what were they supposed to do? And the other thing is the site d'enfouissement, the place where they dump the garbage, closes at 4:30.
Yeah.
So after that, they can't dump. So they have to wait. So what they usually do is they start early in the morning, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, they fill up. And then by the time the site d'enfouissement, the régie is open, then they go and they can dump there. So the problem is the drivers and knowing the territory. They take a driver from the South Shore and just bring them out and put them on the territory. They have to have somebody else with them to show them the roads and where to go. Or like the time I saw him in Brome picking up the garbage and he thought he was in town of Brome Lake 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the problem that we have.
But I understand that, but why is it up to us to pay for that when the services aren't being met properly?
No, we
Like the other day, they didn't pick up my compost at all in December, and they picked it up January last week. Okay,
and they picked it up with
they picked it up with the garbage.
Yes, because
Is that acceptable? You
No.
tell us to pick. You tell us to compost. You tell us to garbage. You tell us to cycle. We do, and then they don't pick it up.
Yeah,
And then we got a pile beside our door.
Did
And then
they-
after that, you say, "Shut up when I call you."
Well,
They
that's
haven't picked up my bin.
That's exactly, for 5 minutes, I couldn't get a word in edgewise, you kept saying the same thing, and your wife was talking on the phone too, and your kids, why didn't you just go outside your house and talk to me? So I could hear you, and you could hear me, but you didn't. So I just said, can you shut up, please? And then you said, don't talk to me like that, and so I just hung up because
it's not acceptable.
you couldn't listen to me.
I don't talk to you like that, so I don't appreciate being talked to like that.
You wouldn't listen. You weren't polite to stop. You kept being very
So
aggressive.
the guy that's the highest up in the town.
I'm not going to go on with that conversation.
Of course you're not, because you're in the wrong.
No.
Yes, you are.
We're trying to correct the situation, Mr. Rumsey.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
You're not doing nothing about it.
Anyway, thank you.
Good evening, bonsoir. First question, you mentioned there would be 2 more public consultations now in February.
Yes.
Who will be running those consultations?
Well, it's going to be the public consultation for the strategic planning.
Right. Is that going to be Ramon Chabot or is that going to be...
Yes, they're going to be here.
Okay. How much money at this point have we budgeted for Ramon Chabot's involvement in this file?
I'm not sure. I would have to.
Like last year, Mrs. Soutal, we were at $55,000, if I remember well.
Okay, well, we were $55,000 less.
Yeah, they didn't spend nothing yet. We're working on that, and they're going to be here managing be in charge of the consultation, and the recommendation will be done by the consultation will be done by the elected officials and the administration.
Is it going to be bilingual? Because so far it has not.
It's always bilingual. The Raymond Chabot person is not adequate in English. You're right.
So
but it was always bilingual.
Okay, but for these upcoming consultations, is it going to be? What are you doing to address the lacuna in terms of communicating in English with towns?
The consultation will be done mostly by the elected officials, but
Excellent.
French and English.
Thank you. Second question. I'd like to go back to 202307, which was the bylaw which was passed last month, okay, regarding quarries and mining and sand quarries and sand pits and quarries. When we discussed that, the council went ahead and passed it. There was discussion and questions raised because the MRC gave you the option and to exercise to increase the minimum distances between, for instance, houses and any of these activities. Okay, you said at that time that you could not do it, the MRC was forcing you to act, but that you would be considering the implications for any property owner or any location that might be affected by these quarries or these sand pits, and that you would be coming to us this month with the results of that research. Could you let us know could you update us on that, please?
20 of the 21 municipalities adopted the bylaw as it was.
Mm-hmm.
There is one that didn't because they want to reduce the distance. And to do that is a different formula.
Right.
Because they're going against, they can increase it, they can't put it down. We've asked to check the zones that we're talking about, and we're going to verify to see if there's any problem with any of these zones and get the feedback back, and we haven't had it yet. They're in the process of checking these zones. So right now, it won't be till next month, but I have no more information to give you than that, but they're working on it, yes.
Feedback from whom, Mr. Mayor?
The town, the inspectors and the gestion territoire, the land management, to verify the zones and to look at where, if they're permitted to build and can build or whatever, and if the distance is appropriate to what's already in the bylaw.
Au mois dernier, on avait discuté des distances minimales entre carrières, sablières et, par exemple, maisons. Et à ce moment-là, une des choses que vous avez dit que vous alliez entreprendre comme recherche, ce serait de déterminer exactement qui, quelle propriété, quelles adresses même, vous avez dit, pourraient subir un impact suite à ce changement de loi. Donc, la question que je vous pose, the question I'm asking you, which is the question that was asked last month, is which properties are affected? And you said when I say you, I mean the council, you said that you were going to be looking at that specifically. I'm not talking about what the MRC is doing. I'm asking the people here which taxpayers, which properties are possibly affected by this. And we were hoping, we had talked about having a map available tonight, which I haven't seen a map this evening, presumably you're still working on it, so could you please tell us when that information would be available?
It'll be probably available at the next council meeting.
Okay, so we're talking about the results of the research that the council will have done with respect to their citizens.
That's correct.
Not the MRC, what you will
the
have done.
MRC, we passed a bylaw of the MRC.
Okay, so
With
you're,
the distances that all the other 20 municipalities accepted.
right, but we're not talking about the other 20 municipalities. We're talking about the suite. Ça s'enchaîne aux questions dont on a discuté au mois dernier. OK, ça concerne, on ne parle pas des 20 autres municipalités, on parle de ce qui se passe ici à Ville de Lac-Brome. Vous aviez dit à ce moment-là, au mois dernier, qu'il y avait 8 zones qui subissaient un impact, mais on n'a pas eu plus de détails que ça. Okay? Tout ce qu'on a su à ce moment-là, c'était à l'ouest de la route 139, au nord de la route 104, à l'ouest du Lac-Brome, l'ouest de l'aire urbaine de Bonneville, un à l'ouest de Fulford, un dernier au nord et à l'ouest de Foster, Sugar Hill, Colin Patch, west of Route 139, north of 104, west of Lac-Brome, west of the urban area of Bonneville, an area, no specifics given yet, west of Fulford, and one north and west of Fulford. That's what we were hoping to have more details available on.
I'll let Gilbert add something to it.
All I want to say is that nobody's getting impacted by that, Mrs. Schutel. All the MRC put in place is it's a bylaw what the MRC put in place is a bylaw to limit the numbers of quarries or sandpit that could be allowed. The 8 zone that you're referring to is that there's, in our bylaws, that 8 zone that permits gravel pits and sand pits, okay? The last time we had a demand to put in place a sand pit and a gravel pit, I don't know when, 10 years, 40 years ago. We don't see how there's going to be another sand pit or gravel pit, so nobody's impacted by that bylaw. It limits the possibility of having sand pits and gravel pits. So I want to clarify that because nobody's impacted by that.
But last month, you said there were 8 zones which could be impacted. When I say you, I mean the totality, okay, the council. You said there were 8 zones that might have an impact. You were going to look at specifically what streets, what addresses might be impacted. And you say, well, there hasn't been a request for 40 years, I think you just said. But you also said, Maître Falquero, last month, when we were talking about this, that there could be a request tomorrow, right? You cannot say there would not be a request to open one up tomorrow.
Right.
So that's what generated the substance of this discussion. So you're saying that next month we will have more specifics available?
I hope that next month we're going to have more specifics.
If there are not very many areas potentially impacted, then presumably that would not. That should be something you would be able to attend to. One would hope so.
Resident people are working on that like other subjects. So
Yes.
we're hoping that next month we're going to present something to the members of the council
Yes.
that we'll be able to present here.
Excellent, because I'm certain that the people who live in those zones would share, okay, that wish for this to be addressed specifically. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Before my question, I'd like to thank the council for the decisions they made today in refusing to consider the PPCMOI on the basis of the higher density. I think that was the right decision that you've made today. I'm going back to December last year. I suggested to the council and to Mr. Harel that the city should consider using their right of preemption on the property that Mr. La Rochelle was referring to and the other property, the adjoining property, so that if it comes up for sale, the city could match the offer. I don't know if that was considered or that is still under discussion.
Well, right now, the information we had and the talk is with Mr. Arel and the owner that they're renovating. They're going to renovate both buildings and make apartments out of all of them.
Right.
But
401.
401.
Yeah. The big one will be, there's a project on the table.
Okay. Your answer brings me to my other topic, and I'm going to be short, Mayor Burkham. I know it's starting to be late. There's a lot of wealthy, very wealthy people in this community. Some of them are billionaires, some of them are close to be billionaires. And there seems to be, as we used to say in this province, deux solitudes. Not the French and English, but here the very wealthy and the ordinary people. The very wealthy have been very generous to this community in the past. You just have to think about la clinique d'orthopédie de M. Baudouin in Granby. They have funded, to some extent, the theater and other venues here. But I'm wondering whether there's a way the council, whether through the mayor or through the council as a whole, can bring those people closer to the community and offer tax advantages for them to invest in a municipal governed company that you're allowed to establish under la loi sur les compétences municipales. A lot of those very wealthy people, billionaires, would look very favorably to be granted tax benefits in giving grants, donations, to the city, and the city could use that sum of money for various projects, one of which could be the acquisition of the properties we're just talking about. So we're talking about a lack of affordable apartments. We have, I don't know how many affordable apartments are needed in this city. Do you have a number? 100, 200, 300? Is there any assessment that has been made? Cam Brown, who was just here, did mention to me that some of his employees are still looking for apartments, but they gave up. So if we're looking for 20, 30, 40 affordable apartments, and my God, affordable is, in my view, under $1,500, and maybe I'm dreaming, but under $1,000, then if there's some serious discussions that are made with this group of people, they're all golfing at the same place. It's easy to meet them, to bring them in the community, try to convince them to, put their money, have a tax benefit for the benefit of the entire community. I think this should be looked at quite seriously, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Burgo. I agree with you. There is a lot of wealthy people. And, as usual, a lot of the wealthy people do donate to everything, including the BNP hospital, like you said, the payout and the Beaumont Foundation and all that. That's the library, the people that have contributed for the extension of the library. But when you it's a hard discussion when you talk affordable housing with a certain group of people, but the idea is good. If they ever wanted to, we'll look at it, but I mean, it's hard to, how do you say, bring people together to talk about an affordable project. I mean, the government has criteria for giving to that, but then you got to have a population of a certain amount of people, and we don't qualify for that. And so it's a problem, I know, the affordable housing. There is apartments that are 1,100, 1,200. Is that affordable? For me, 1,200 is still a lot of money per month. So, but there is brand new apartments going up, which are for 1,150 and 1,200 a month. So it's hard to, you know what I mean? Somebody that's on fixed income, living alone, over 65, that's not, to me, that's not affordable for them.
But yeah, you know, what I'm referring to,
I know
what I'm referring to, and I'll give you an example. I won't mention the name of the person because this is recorded, but what she probably doesn't go on the website, but Michel Ganache opened a gallery on Victoria. He's the one who was responsible for the event that was produced by Madame Gagnon, all of the statues, right?
Yeah.
And he got some money to do that from a very wealthy person that you know of. But it was a personal endeavor.
It wasn't really, because the person came to Michel Gamache.
Yeah.
And for the mannequins, that's what they're called, mannequins. And Michel told me, and because I told him, I said, when they were put up, I found it perfect anyway. And then following that, he said, well, I didn't either, when the woman came to me with a project. And Buddy said, I listened, and then put him up, and then I saw the activity around it and the people that liked it. And so it just extended.
But the point I'm making is a bit like Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams. If you build it, they'll come. If you establish a non-profit organization run by the company, by the city, under la loi sur les compétences municipales, and you establish a plan where you say, in the constitution of the company, that this company's funds will be used to purchase, construct affordable housing. And then you go see these people on a one-by-one basis, and you say, you're in our community, you pay a lot of taxes and we thank you for that, but we need more from you. And here is the tax advantage. I think that would go a long way, with all due respect.
I'm not against the idea at all, Mr. Burgo. Yes. I'm not against your idea at all. And we'll look into it, we'll see. And it's going to be a hard, anyway, try to think of how it would work, but anyway, we will. Yes?
Oui, je vais remettre les feuilles, la pétition qui dit que c'est pas vrai. Et en passant, les vidanges, nous autres, c'est des bacs. On n'a pas de bac de recyclage parce que c'est Matrec. Et le fameux propriétaire ne veut pas en mettre. Là, le bac, il est plein. Ça fait 2 semaines que Matrec ne ramasse pas.
So il est en problème avec Matrec aussi, pas juste...
Non, j'ai appelé Matrec. Il n'y a pas de problème avec eux autres. C'est à Patrice Brion des appelés qui ne fait pas.
Ah, OK.
Comme supposément que l'RBQ est venu, j'ai appelé à l'RBQ. Aucun inspecteur est venu au bloc appartement. Alors, c'est une menterie de dire que l'RBQ est venu.
OK, merci, M. Lancer. Alors, on avait de la séance.